Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is gearing up for a wonderful Christmas. This will probably be my one and only video prior to Christmas, so I want to make sure that I take the time to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and hope that you are planning some very fun things, and I'm sure you are. It's also my favorite time of the year, really, for video making because I get to talk about my 50 best albums of this past year, 2016. Now, I'm not going to do it all in one video. It's going to be exactly the same as last year. I'm going to break it up into two videos. So part one today, and then I'll come back and do part two, number 25 through number 1, somewhere between Christmas and New Year's. So it'll be after Christmas and before New Year's that you'll see the rest of my list, and it'll definitely be complete before the calendar year shifts over. But for today, we're going to start with number 50, and we're going to go all the way through to number 26. So there's a great variety of records here, and I hope that, like I always say for this channel, I hope there's something for everybody that you can, if you're not familiar with it, maybe you can check it out. I know there's a lot of people who follow my music taste and how varied it can be, and also from some familiar names that have cropped up on many other lists throughout the year that I've seen, and I also agree with that are great albums, and also some surprises for me. So it's a pretty varied list, and I want to try to keep these reasonably short, so I'm not going to go into great detail about any of the albums, but if you have questions about specific albums, just comment and I'll do my best to answer them. And I can't say I'm experts on all these bands because some of these, as I said, are new to me, and that's going to start right with number 50. Number 50 was a complete blind buy. I was at Half Price Books one day here about, it wasn't that long ago, maybe about 5 weeks ago, and they had a couple of Sub Pop records in loser editions from bands that I had no idea of, and this was one of them, and it just snuck in at my top 50 because I was very, very happy with it and very pleasantly surprised. It's a band called, I'm assuming, LevelUp, even though they spell their name kind of funny with an LVL. Pretty sure it's pronounced Level Up, and they had the loser edition from Sub Pop, which is on a nice color vinyl, and the name of the record is Return to Love. So this just snuck in my top 50, kind of a last minute changing of something else. It just got bumped off. In fact, I think it was a band called, I can't remember now, I think it was Whitney, which I really like them too, so I guess we'll give them a mention. But this snuck in the top 50 at number 50, Level Up on Sub Pop Records. It's, you know, surprisingly mellow, but still got some rocking moments, and it was really just in my sweet spot. So as blind buys go, this one turned out very good for me. So I don't know anything about the band. You'd have to do your research just like me to find out the details, but it's a really good album. And I think if you like anything I've shown in the past as far as, you know, more adult-oriented rock, maybe a little bit of a dream pop sound, I think you'd like this, so check them out. Number 50 from Level Up. Okay, so number 49 is a very familiar name. Everyone's going to know this one. Not so much because of the band name, but because of the member who is responsible for the band. And number 49 is from Mudcrutch. Mudcrutch is a spin-off band of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and I gotta be honest with you, I only found out about them this year. I'd never heard of Mudcrutch, and this is their second album, so I had to go back and buy their first one, which I did right away, because I'm a big Tom Petty fan. As you can see, I've got the box set behind me that I'll go into detail in another video. Mudcrutch 2 released an album right after Record Store Day this year, and it's quite good. Might not be quite up to par with their first one, but it's still got a lot of good songs on it, and if you like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, or Tom Petty as a solo artist, you're probably going to like this too, because there isn't that much radically different on it. So it's the only thing I will say is Tom Petty doesn't sing every song like he will on his own records, but he does sing the majority of them, and it's got that familiar sound. If you like Tom Petty, you're going to like Mudcrutch. So number 49 from Mudcrutch, Mudcrutch 2. Number 48 is an album that I thought when I bought it that might be potentially very high up on the list, because I love this band, and I do like this record. Really, you can be assured that anything at this stage, because I buy a lot of music, you guys know me, if it's made the top 50, you can pretty much guarantee they're good albums. So you just have to pick and choose with the ones that you think are going to suit your taste. But this one doesn't live up to some of their other work, but it's still very good. Wild Nothing, Life of Pause. This came out earlier in the year, and I was very excited about it, and still am. I like it very much. Unfortunately, the camera, because I've got a Blake sleeve on, it's not going to pick up that this is a lenticular cover. But I had pre-ordered this, I think, at the very tail end of 2015, came out early 2016. I've listened to it a few times, but it just doesn't strike me like some of their other albums. It's very good, and it's a very enjoyable album, but it just didn't have that wow factor like a couple albums ago did for me. But certainly nothing wrong with it. If you're a Wild Nothing fan, you're going to like it, and it's another solid album from them. So, well, I really should say him. It's just one person in that band, but he goes by the name Wild Nothing. So I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but really good album. Some people may be disappointed with number 47 because a lot of I see this on a lot of best of lists, I gotta be honest with you, and it is a good album. Again, every album in here is going to be a good album, and I do like it, but I like their other album better. The second album from Dive, this one is called Is Our. It's a very strange title. And it's really, for me, the problem with this album is it's got just a little bit too much filler in it for me. It's a double album. It's packed full. I mean, its running time is like 90 minutes almost, I think. And this is the deluxe edition, colored vinyl. It's got all the bells and whistles on it. I'm not going to show you guys anything unless I think it's so spectacular that you can't miss it. But this was pre-order again, and I like it. It's got the great shoegaze sound that Dive are known for now. But it didn't live up, for me, to their first record. So, again, probably disappointing to some people who really love this album, and it's made a lot of lists. And it's made mine, but it's at number 47. So, number 47 with Dive. Is Our. Again, strange title. Number 47, again, a late entry. It just came out about a month ago, and I'm very happy with it, although, again, didn't quite live up to their first two records. This is the third album from Toy. I think they're from Manchester or somewhere around there in the UK. Very, very good psych band. And this one, they went a little bit more poppy, but it still has a psych feel to it, but it's some of that real psych feel that they had, especially on their first record. They just seemed to kind of be steering away from just a little bit, and I kind of missed that. So it didn't, the first album is a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. It's self-titled Toy. And then the second album was almost as good, and this one isn't quite up to that standard, I think, personally. But I did get a signed copy, which is terrific. Pre-ordered it from their record label Heavenly in the UK, and it came signed, so I'm very happy with that. And very odd album cover, really almost looks like demos or something. But this is called Clear Shot, Toy Clear Shot. So if you like psych music and you like Toy, either of their first two albums, you're gonna like it. So it's worthy, and we're getting into some very good albums here. Number 46. Number 45 is a second album from a band called Glass Animals. Love their first album again. Absolutely love it. This one is called How to Be a Human Being. And again, it's very good. This is a Vinyl Me Please, who I am a member of. Their edition of it, which is on a color splatter kind of thing. And I'm sorry I'm not showing you the cover. I just didn't feel like taking all these out of the Blake sleeve for the video. But again, very good album, and a good follow-up, but maybe not quite to the standards of their first one, so it comes a little bit low on my list, because considering how much I love their first album. Glass Animals, How to Be a Human Being at number 46. Let's see, number 40, I'm sorry, that was 45. Number 44 is another one of those situations. Sound like I'm being a little bit of a broken record here already, but I love their last album. I was 2 years ago, so I'd have to go back and look, but I know it was higher rated than this one at number 44. But Merchandise had a follow-up to their last album. I think this is their third or fourth album, Corpse Wired for Sound. Really good. I mean, this has a real good melodies to it. Very, very solid. I mean, it kind of reminds me in a way of kind of classic rock, 70s Fleetwood Mac. Maybe pre-Lindsey Buckingham Fleetwood Mac, because it's really good. But their last album was just such a masterpiece for me that it's hard to live up to again. So this one may be a little bit lower than the previous album. I don't have the title in front of me, but if you're interested in the band, I would start maybe with the one prior to this. Came out in 2014, and Merchandise is a very good band, so I think you guys would like them. Number 43 is another new artist for me this year, and I ended up buying all that they had. This is their 2016 release, or his 2016 release, and I absolutely love him. I think he's just unique and amazing. Kishi Bashi, Sonderlust, and this is a signed copy. You can barely see it there, written on gold pen. But I bought this from Joyful Noise website, and it came signed, and it also came with a 7-inch single, and this is on a gold splatter kind of vinyl. It's very pretty. But Kishi Bashi is an amazing musician who plays violin and keyboards, and he's a kind of an all-around genius, really. And some of it's instrumental, some of it has vocals, some of it's dancey, some of it's pop-driven, some of it's very experimental, some of it's classical feeling. It's really cool. So if you're interested at all in trying something new, I would say Kishi Bashi would be a good one to start. He has, I think, 4 albums. I bought them all because I got carried away. But really like the 2016 album, Sonderlust. Okay, next one is a, I think, 3rd album from this band called Signs of Life, number 42, The Head and the Heart. Very enjoyable. This one actually I like more than the previous album from them, and I was a little on the fence if I was even going to buy this, because their other album for me was just okay, and although a lot of people love it, I really like this. I think it was a step forward in a very positive way, so a very solid follow-up for The Head and the Heart. I really like this album, Signs of Life. So if you like their other album, again, I didn't write down the title, but I would say this is maybe the good place to start with that band. So number 42. Number 41 is a band that everybody's going to know very, very well. I don't know how many albums they've had. A lot. Maybe this is their 9th or 10th album. And they're all solid. They don't have a bad release, really. This band gets a lot of criticism because a certain segment of their fan base only likes their first 4 albums because they were a lot heavier, and they were very independent, and you know, there's that segment of people that just can't seem to get past the fact that they've branched out a little bit and become a little bit more mainstream. The Kings of Leon Walls is a great album, and I really like it, and I think it's just a shame that it's gotten not such good fan. I mean, some people love it, you know, because they like some of their more recent work. And I think if you've liked anything that they've done in the past, I'd say 10 years, you're going to like this record. There's no way around that. But if you're looking for that sound that they had on their first 4 records, I don't think they're ever going to go back to it, so just get over it. Anyway, it's a great album, and the only thing I would say about this one is it came terribly warped, and I've got a vinyl flat, and it took me 3 tries to get it flat enough to play. So a little unfortunate there, but it's fine now. All right, number 40. This is the artist who had my number 1 album last year, and I'm going to pause for a second, and you guys can rack your brains and see if you can remember who my number 1 album was last year. Well, he didn't repeat, but I'm happy to say he is on the list with his follow-up to Primrose Green, and that is Riley Walker, and the title of this record is Golden Things That Have Been Sung. This is a double record, but the second record is more just like one long song that fills up both sides. It's quite amazing, really, and it's quite enjoyable. But the main album is just a single album. But this is a two album. The Sullen Mind is the second album there, and you can see it's on both sides. So the track is, I don't know, 40 minutes nearly. And, you know, who does 40-minute songs? But Riley Walker is an amazing singer-songwriter. Absolutely love him. Primrose Green is an incredible piece of art. And this is a very good follow-up. It's just, obviously, not my number 1 album of the year, but it's a very, very good album. So Riley Walker should be a superstar. He's every bit as good as some of the people who get more praise than he gets. But I love this album, and I love him. And I'm very happy to say that last year, number 1, this year, number 40, you might think, well, it's not as good. It's pretty good. Alright, here's an artist that you probably never heard of. Not many people have, probably, but number 39 belongs to Douglas Dare. I'm going to try to pronounce this correct, so don't beat me up if I don't, but it's spelled Afforger? I'm just not sure. And I know that the album cover is a little unusual. It looks like he's eating a bird or something, but it really is he's a phenomenal artist. I've got 2 other records from him, and I think he's somewhere from Sweden or Denmark or something like that, one of those Scandinavian artists that is pushing envelopes and really just challenges the listener for something new every single time. And it's a little bit ambient, it's a little bit experimental, not a lot of vocals, but some vocals, and just a tremendous artist. So I'm very pleased with this record, and pleased to say it's my 39th best album of 2016. Okay, now let's see, number 38. Again, I bought this not knowing it had come out at half-price books. Somehow it eluded me. This guy gets very little attention, and this is the 3rd album I have from him. He may have more. Every single one of them is just really strong, powerful stuff. Nick Waterhouse, Never Twice. And you, like me, might not know that much about Nick Waterhouse, but he just always seems to deliver solid records. And the guy is a good singer. He's a good songwriter. He is kind of jazzy. He's mellow. It's just a really good feel-good type record. And yeah, I love the way he designs his records. He pays a lot of attention to the vinyl. These are all tip-on, fold-over jackets and very heavy vinyl and very first class. You know, you can tell that vinyl is his main way of distributing his music, and it's just really well done. So Nick Waterhouse, Never Twice, a great album, and number 38. All right, let's see. This, God, I don't know how many records this band has had. Probably 6, maybe more. And I've got them all, and I'm happy to say that the title of the band fits their music. And again, this band gets little fanfare, little attention. Not that many people have ever posted or talked about the Amazing. The Amazing came out with a great album this year called Ambulance, and I absolutely love it, and I can't seem to get enough of their music. Every time, they never fail, but yet hardly anybody knows about them. So I'm really always happy to give any plug I can to a band that deserves so much more attention than they get. The Amazing with Ambulance comes in at number 37 this year. So if you like mainstream, kind of longer songs, but they have really good hooks, trying to think of comparison bands, really, it's very difficult because they have kind of longer jams at times, but they're still very accessible. I don't know, I just think they're amazing, they really are. So I think this is the 6th record I have from them, and they're all really good. Alright, so this one here was another kind of, someone talked me into it. It may have been my friend Richie, or maybe I stumbled across it on YouTube or something, but this guy, I think, has got a very bright future. He goes by the name of Cub Sport, and I don't think it's a band, I think it's just one guy. And the name of the album is This Is Our Vice, but this one really surprised me as something I knew very little, if anything, about when I bought it, but it's a very emotional powerhouse of a record. And it's on pink swirl vinyl, but regardless of that, it's a really great album, and some of his music videos will really capture your attention. So I would say definitely worth checking out. This guy's got a very bright future. Reminds me a little bit of Perfume Genius. And again, I apologize if somebody knows if it's a band or just a solo singer, but in his videos it appears it may be just a solo singer. But anyway, it's a terrific record, and I'm very happy to add it into my top 50 for this year. Alright, so where are we at here? Number 35. And I was so excited about this record. I just couldn't wait for it to come out because I adore this singer. She is just brilliant. And she, of course, has a remarkable long career with the band Mazzy Star. But Hope Sandoval and the Warm Inventions had a new album this year. I think this is their 3rd album. And it is called Until the Hunter. 2-record set on kind of a seafoam green vinyl. Beautiful, absolutely stunningly beautiful. And if you like Mazzy Star, you're going to like Hope Sandoval and the Warm Inventions because they're kind of similar. This one maybe even a little bit more mellow than Mazzy Star, but she just never does anything wrong. And, you know, she can't do anything wrong as far as I'm concerned. Just a really brilliant singer. So it's a shame in a way that some of these bands and these artists don't get more attention and more recognition, because this is a great record and I'm so pleased with it. So number 35. Here's a great, I'm so happy to add this one because Here's another artist that gets just no fanfare and no recognition, at least in America. And she has so much to offer and so much diversity. Here she's singing kind of more American standards. These are more cover songs, and I think, in fact, they all are cover more traditional type songs. But Madeline Perot, I believe it's pronounced Perot or Peru, I'm not 100% sure because nobody talks about her. The album is called Secular Hymns. And again, I was so pleasantly surprised that even though they're all cover songs, they're just beautifully done. And she has a very deep, husky, kind of an American sound, really, for someone who's not American. And I just think she's phenomenal. I've got a couple of her other records on Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab, and I've got a couple of CDs from her, and she's terrific live, and she did not disappoint at all with this record, Until the Hunter, coming in at number 35. So great, great record from Madeline Perot, I think. Okay, this record, again, high hopes for this one. Didn't really disappoint. You see, it's going to be number 33 on my chart, which is, we're getting into some awesome records here. Not that any of them aren't, but this one, maybe not quite as good as the last one, but they never, for me, this is another band that never seems to disappoint. Local Native, Sunlit Youth. And very cool design on this one, because if you stick this record in the sun, the whole cover seems to kind of change. You see some things that you can't see just in normal daylight, so that's kind of unique. And I don't remember if this is on color vinyl or not. I think it is. Maybe on white vinyl, I can't recall, but it doesn't matter really. 2 LP set. The album is called Sunlit Youth, I think I said that, but another solid album from this band. And again, they just have not released a record yet that I haven't liked, so they just continue to do good things. And this is a band that probably does get quite a lot of recognition. They're very popular in the indie world, and maybe you want to call them a hipster band, whatever floats your boat, but I think that, Kings of Leon, Local Natives, who else fits into that category? Maybe Merchandise a little bit that I talked about earlier. And, it's that whole, I don't know, folk rock kind of hipster vibe. I don't know how to describe it, but they're really good. All right, so number 32. I was trying so hard not to make this terribly long. I don't know. I can't see the time. But anyway, this will make, I know, one viewer of mine quite happy. And I don't know, this is probably the 100th album from this artist. Who knows how many records this artist has, but I admire him. He's one of my heroes, and I just, I look at this picture and I just get a warm, fuzzy feeling inside, because he has provided terrific music for half a century and is a living legend. Mr. Eric Clapton, I Still Do, came out with an album this year, and this one's for you, James, Rockboy680, who is the biggest Eric Clapton fan you'll probably ever want to meet. And I'm so happy that, if this is his last album, it's a great one to go out with. I don't think it will be. I think he's still got a few more good ones in him. But the cover says it all. I mean, the man has got dignity and class, and is just, provided so much great music and goodwill and amazing entertainment through the years that, when he goes, it's going to be like a Bowie, it's going to be a Prince, where we're all going to be very, very sad for a long time. So, not saying that's going to be anytime soon, but I'm so happy that I Still Do made my list, of course. Number 32, and really, really strong album from Mr. Eric Clapton. All right, number 31, getting down to the last few here. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit here, because this is a band, again, not that many people know. I would check them out if you like that dream pop, kind of soft rock kind of feel. This is a band called Plastic Flowers. The album is called Heavenly, and it's you put it on and it just instantly makes you feel good. It's got swirling guitars and great keyboards and kind of washed out sound, and it's just a really, really nice record. So Plastic Flowers, I think we're going to hear more from them. I think this is their second album, and I'm sure they've got many more to come. Here's a band that's been around forever at number 30 since the 80s, and they continue to push the envelope with progressive dance music. And they started out more of a traditional 80s type sound, and they've just never slowed down being innovative. Underworld. And you would think, wow, Carl Hyde's still out there doing his thing. Yep, he still is. And this is a terrific album called Barbara, Barbara, We Face a Shining Future. kind of a weird album cover, but they're known for that. And it is, if you like dance music, and if you like to get some loud beats, but also some ambient stuff too, this is a great record. And unfortunately, I don't think it sold particularly well in America, but probably around the world it did, because Americans have shit taste. But this is a really great record. And Barbara, We Face a Shining Future. I would check that out. If you haven't heard Underworld in a long time, they are still doing it, and doing it well. Here's an album that will make Remo happy, one of my friends, and I don't know if he watches my videos or not, but if you are watching, hey Remo. And I know he likes this record, and I think that this band is incredible. I think they're on Bella Union, I think? Maybe not. Maybe they are in Europe and not here. I don't know. But Daughter, I think, is an all-female band, I think. Anyway, a phenomenal record here. I know we're running out of time. Not to Disappear, number 29. I think this is their second or third, I think just second full-length album. And again, just fantastic. So this is a record that just about anybody's going to like. So I'm just going to take a sip of water here. Got 3 more to show you here. Number 28, this is the first album from a new artist, I believe from California. My friend Richie is a big fan. He told me about him. He's fun. He's smart. He's got great hooks. He plays guitar. And he's gonna be big. I can guarantee you this will not be the last time we ever hear of Daywave. Again, kind of an interesting title here called Headcase Slash Hard to Read. You might think it's 2 EPs or something, but I believe it's just, you know, the album. But I bought a single from him called Drag. I think it was Drag, and loved it. So I'm like, hey, let's get the whole album. And boy, am I sure glad I did, because this is just pop greatness right here. If you just like jangly pop music and feel good, you know, stomp your feet kind of stuff, it doesn't get much better than that. So can't say too much about him because I don't know much about him, but terrific. And if he plays in your area, I'd say go see him, because it sounds like he puts on a hell of a show. All right, he got 2 more, and this artist has been around for eons, and I love this record. I mean, he just, again, one of those guys that never seems to skip a beat. Brian Eno, The Ship. I think this came out early last year, and I think he has another album coming out next year. The guy's prolific, you know that. Brian Eno has a catalog of music that goes, you know, 50 deep. But The Ship is a great double album, and, you know, each side is just, I'm going to let you read it here because we're kind of running out of time. It's just a phenomenal record, and very varied. It's some ambient, some electronic, some vocals, some not, and it's typical Brian Eno. You know, it's just, you can't go wrong because the production is incredible, impeccable, and he puts his heart and soul in everything he touches. So finally, number 26 is, I've seen this make, as far as music websites go, as far as either number 1 or high up. Now, it didn't go that high for me, but this was a pleasant surprise because I bought their debut record and just thought, well, okay, I think that's more for the younger crowd. That's really not my cup of tea. But the second album was like, well, where did that come from? Because even though I don't really like the band that much, I think they're kind of like, well, you know, maybe a little bit weird for me. But this album is a surprise shocker, really. And I would have never thought in a million years it would have made my top 50. But the 1975... I don't even know if I should try to say the title. Like It When You Sleep, for You Are So Beautiful Yet So Unaware of It. That's the name of the album. And there you have it. But it's 2 LP set, and again, I was surprised because I just was really, really, at best, lukewarm on their debut album. But this came out, and I'm like, okay, I'll try it. People are really saying it's something special. And it made the number 1 album of the year. I think it was Consequence of Sound or Mojo, I can't remember which, but it was one of the big ones. Called this their number 1 album of the year. Now, I'm not going to go that far. They still got a little bit of proving to do for me, but this was a surprise. I didn't expect to like it, and it really kind of surprises me every time I put it on because it is very good. And not only pop, but it's got some ballads. It's got great guitar riffs. It's this. I guess what I'm saying is this band's got a pretty bright future, and I would have never expected that. So the 1975. I'm not going to say the title again. I Like It When You Sleep. That's good enough. It rounds out today's offering for the first of my top 50 for 2016. So there you have it. There's 25. So we're halfway there. in my countdown of my favorite albums of 2016. Now, I wanted to say, and I meant to say it at the beginning, I haven't heard everything. I buy a lot of music. Last year, I bought a lot, way too much. This year, I really cut it down. I bought about 100 albums, I think, which is, close to half of what I bought the previous year. So I'm not buying as much as I was, but it's still a lot of music, let's face it. So these top 50 are all going to be great. But they're not going to be for everyone, and I'm sure I missed some good records. So really, mostly what I want to hear is some records I may have missed that you think might fit my musical taste, and maybe I have overlooked. So I'm sure there's a long list of things that you guys like too that you would like me to check out. So that's kind of the whole point of these also, is to learn some new things from you. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed part 1. As I said earlier, I'll come back for part 2 somewhere between Christmas and New Year, and see what happens. We've got some fantastic records. What's going to be number 1? Well, it's anyone's guess, really. But no contest this year, but I hope you're still enjoying the videos, and very excited to come back in a few days and do the rest of it. So until then, take care of yourselves, and bye for now.